Thank you very much, Barry Unsworth. It's a great honour to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me. And I should acknowledge that early in my career, I was fortunate enough to be a press secretary to the late Peter Cox in your government, Barry Unsworth. It was an experience I'll always be grateful for, and your stance on gun control was immensely courageous. And you're always very lovely to me when you were the Premier, and I was just a young press secretary. Welcome to the Affinity Intercultural Foundation's lecture series. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Tim Soutphommasane, Race Discrimination Commissioner, Australian Human Rights Commission, the Honourable Barry Unsworth, former Premier of New South Wales, New South Wales Deputy Police Commissioner Catherine Byrne, Jim Longley, Deputy Secretary, Ageing, Disability and Home Care, Michael Carr, Deputy CEO and Chief Operating Officer, Association of Independent Schools, Margaret Piper, Affinity Advisory Board Member from Multicultural New South Wales, Yayan Ganda Haya Mulyana, Consul General of the Republic of Indonesia, Leo Oke, Consul from the Papua New Guinea Consulate General, Marford Angeles, Consul at the Philippine Consul General, Richard Bronowski, President of the Australian Institute of International Affairs, Moon Ha Park, the moderator of the Uniting Church of Australia's New South Wales and ACT synods, religious leaders, community leaders, distinguished guests, media colleagues, friends and family. Welcome. Today's topic is tolerance and harmony in challenging times. I will formally introduce our guest speaker shortly, but I'd like to briefly touch on a few of Dr. Tim Soutphommasane's statements over the past 3 years. And I quote, "Our society shouldn't endorse racial stereotypes of Aboriginal Australians. We seem to care more about the feelings of those who may perpetrate racism than the hurt experienced by those on the receiving end." He reminds us, while Australia may be described as a multicultural success story, our cultural diversity is not reflected in our leadership, be it among our CEOs or elected representatives, and dare I say, it's not reflected in the media. He tells us, quote, "Too often we lapse into easy celebration, like on Harmony Day," which is a great day at the ABC, I've got to say. In his book, Don't Go Back to Where You Came From, Why Multiculturalism Works, he writes, "Too often we are guilty of complacency." Dr. Soutphommasane warns of a resurgent Australian nationalism. I was taken aback seeing the leader of the United Patriots Front on Four Corners on Monday night, as I'm sure many of you were. Now let me walk you through Tim Soutphommasane's multiple achievements. He's been Race Discrimination Commissioner since August 2013. Prior to joining the Australian Human Rights Commission, Tim was a political philosopher and held posts at the University of Sydney and Monash University. His thinking on multicultural, patriotism and national identity has been influential in shaping debates in Australia and in Britain. Tim is the author of 4 books, I'm Not Racist But, The Virtuous Citizen, Don't Go Back to Where You Came From, and Reclaiming Patriotism. In fact, 2 of those books were out in the same year, quite extraordinary. He was the co-editor of All That's Left. He's been an opinion columnist with The Age and the Weekend Australian newspapers and presented the documentary series Mongrel Nation on ABC Radio in 2013. Tim is an adjunct professor at the School of Social Sciences and Psychology, Western Sydney University, and chairs the Leadership Council on Cultural Diversity. Born in France and raised in southwest Sydney, Tim holds a Doctor of Philosophy and a Master of Philosophy with distinction from the University of Oxford and is a first-class honours graduate of the University of Sydney. Please join me in making Tim welcome.